tell you what's been on my mind. Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city life. Hey darling, we could get out of town, see the beautiful world around, wanna see it now.
Okay, it's May 24th, and I'm gonna do a really quick kind of journal entry style video of where the garden is at this time of year, 2022. I have been here since the very end of April, but doing a lot of work off the property. The garden hasn't gotten a ton of my attention. The weather has been unusually cool at night. It's been quite rainy for the last couple weeks. So not a lot of stuff could in theory be planted out at this point anyway. It is starting to get warmer at night, but so the garlics I planted end of last year, 2 beds, that one and that one up there, and they are doing fantastic. Biggest I think I've ever had them be at this time of the year. This bed we had planted some like greens and stuff at the end of last summer, and a few of the things have actually wintered. So there is some kale. Let's walk over there and see. There's a few beets, so we can eat beet greens, and there's some kale, not a lot, but a little bit, and some chard, and there's a whole bunch of carrots, which I'm assuming because they overwintered, they will probably flower and just become carrot seeds, which is still handy. And over here in the garlic, there is a bunch of potatoes. So last year was my worst year ever for potatoes, and I didn't think there really was much to pull out, but apparently whatever managed to get left behind is growing potatoes, so that's kind of funny. One of the projects that Brent is started, but we'll be completing probably the next time we come up, is this little structure. It's going to be like a little shed thing for keeping our tools, garden tools and stuff in. But as luck would have it, 3 of the holes were nice and easy. And down in the 4th is a gigantic rock that doesn't want to come out. So in the very beginning of May, one of the things we did do was we turned over these 2 beds and then dug a big trench, and we planted 3 different varieties of potatoes in here. I didn't buy regular seed potatoes this year. I just bought grocery store organic potatoes. So it's a bit of an experiment to see if they will produce or not. And then this bed has Spanish onions, yellow onions, and then some onions that Brent started from seed, which I think are probably Walla Wallas, but I'm not certain. And then put some cool crop seeds in down here, radishes and things like that. The raspberries are doing fabulously, very bushy, very healthy looking, and they are just starting to put out a few little blossoms. So they look really good. The big focus for me this year is on trying to control the weeds, because they're just too much out of control. So there's 2 bags of manure that need to get put underneath the raspberries, but under that is some shade cloth. I'd like to get some mulch of some kind and put down on it, but any space that I'm able to, I'm trying to put something down, a weed barrier, and see if that helps, because this is pretty much what everything looks like if I don't, and it's just too much to try and stay on top of. So we got a rhubarb doing really, really well. Got another rhubarb that's gone to seed. I'll throw a picture of that in here. These beds have all been turned over and amended, and now we're just putting the black plastic on to keep the moisture in the ground and also to kind of increase the heat and maybe burn off some of the weeds. Brent's just putting covers on these two. This is going to be the tomatoes and peppers bed this year. But there's a path in the middle, and I've put fabric down and then put pine shavings on it, just like this one. I'm sure weeds will come up on the sides, but anything that helps is a bonus. The grapes are leafing out and looking pretty healthy and nice. The orchard is actually looking really good this year. Brent did spray some of the trees last time we were here because we've had a lot of pest problems. And so it seems to have helped. The almond put out blossoms first off, and now each of the apple trees are showing some blossom sign. One of them is a little further ahead than the others. The crab apples just started blooming. One further down there has blossoms opening. The other two are just budding still. The haskcaps and the jossberries have lots and lots of blossoms, so should be, fingers crossed, a good year in the orchard. This year we were given a few artichoke plants and some celery. So I've put 4 of each down here, and then some of them I've actually planted up in one of the flower beds near the cabin. So at the top of the garden we have this bed of herbs that have been doing really well this year. There's just a ton of weeds in amongst them, but the sage is looking good. The savory is looking really good, and I've harvested a bunch of it already, and I harvested a ton of oregano. And I've never actually seen it look quite so, like the leaves quite so big. Hard to tell because I've already cut it back there, but anyway, so I've got lots of oregano and lots of savory that I have cut and dried, or am drying. So that's kind of nice. And that's it. That's the garden. On the 24th of May, we'll be back again in about 3 or 4 weeks, see where everything is at, and do another update then.
Can I tell you what's been on my mind? Sick and tired of the 9 to 5 in the city.